Good evening. Welcome to this committee. For the record, you are Miss Stella Soy Chepkoech Langat.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Good. Welcome to this committee on appointments, charged with the responsibility of engaging persons nominated by His Excellency the President to hold public office, including cabinet secretaries, and we have a communication. You are nominated for cabinet secretary for gender, culture, arts, and heritage. And if you find favor with this committee after engagement, then it will recommend your suitability, because our duty is to find whether you are suitable or unsuitable for the job for which you are nominated. The committee consists members that you can see here. And before we engage, we'll ask you to take an oath. You are going to give your statement on oath. You may choose to take an oath on the Bible or the Holy Quran or the Holy Book of Hindus. Which one do you choose?
The Bible.
Bible. So be upstanding, take the Bible with your right hand and recite the oath before you.
I, Stella Chepkoech,
Can you move
Soy
to
Langat,
closer to the mic so that you can be heard on record?
I, Stella Chepkoech, Soy Langat, do swear that the evidence I shall give before this committee on the matter under this consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
You may take your seat and sign to the oath. I'm the Speaker of the National Assembly and Chairman of this committee. On my right is the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Gladys Boss. My left is Sarah Kyoko, our Deputy Clerk, and I'll invite members to introduce themselves for the record.
Naisula Lesuda, MP Samburu West.
Nishungwa.
Nelson Koech, Belgut.
David Kosing, Pokot South.
Emase, introduction.
Emase Mary, Teso South.
Abdul Rahim Daoud, North Imenti Meru.
George Gitonga Murugara, MP Tharaka.
Owen Bayer, MP Kilifi North.
Robert Mbui, MP Kadhiani.
Stephen Mule, MP Matungulu.
Dido Raso, MP Saku.
Abdi Shurie, Balambala.
Mishiboko Likoni.
Rehab Mokami, Nyeri County.
Caleb Saboti.
Stella, for purposes of the conduct of this hearing, we'll be referring to you as nominee. All right? We will start off by inviting you to introduce yourself, but before that, pass on your original documents in your possession to the clerk to cross-check with the documents we have on you. So start by introducing yourself by name, educational background, work experience, any key competencies that make you feel you are suitable for the appointment to which you have been nominated by His Excellency the President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, and honorable members of the vetting committee. Allow me to express my gratitude to His Excellency the President for nominating me to this position of the Cabinet Secretary, Gender, Arts, Culture, and Heritage. Indeed, Honorable Chair, this nomination...
Refer to me as chairman or speaker. I'm not a chair.
I am sorry, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to express my appreciation, Honorable Speaker, to His Excellency the President for this opportunity to serve as a Cabinet Secretary. And indeed, this nomination is a great honor to the women of Kericho and the women of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, I will proceed straight on to introduce myself. My name is Stella Chepkoech Soilangat. I was born and brought up in the Greater Kericho County in a family of 9 siblings, and I'm a third born in the family. I went to school in Meswanda Primary School. I went to secondary school at the Tengecha High School for my O levels. I went to Kipsigis Girls for my A levels, the last group of A levels, and I proceeded to the Nairobi University, where I did...
The University of Nairobi.
University of Nairobi, yes. The university, Chair.
Yes.
Chairman. I am a holder of a master's degree in public administration, and I've attended several other capacity building trainings from the Kenya School of Government and other institutions. Honorable Chair, Honorable Chairman.
You can call me chairman or speaker.
Speaker.
Yes.
Speaker is Isha, Chairman.
Go ahead. Yes. Go on.
I have also had various capacity building trainings in areas of mediation, in areas of conflict management, in areas of peace building, and I've served in the public service for a period of 29 years, serving in the central government in various ministries, starting from the State Department of Public Service. I've served in the Labor Department, and Honorable Chair, I was privileged to be part of the team that was setting up the State Department of Gender when it was being in the process of transition. That was in the 2004 at the Department of Social Services, Sports, and Culture. Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, I hope I will not be penalized for calling you the wrong name. Mr. Speaker.
Yes, no, go on.
Let me stick to the Honorable Mr. Speaker, sir.
Go on, go on. Nobody will penalize you. Go on.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. I'll try and much as possible not to repeat it again. So, Honorable Speaker, I've built a career in the public administration, working in several ministries, and I have captured, I've been able to go through building capacity. My capacity has been built as a career administrator, and I have served different ministries. I have also served in the public administration, field administration, covering 3 regions, that is the Rift Valley. I have served in the Eastern region. I have served in Nyanza and South Rift Valley. Mr. Speaker, I have also been involved in institutional building. I was privileged while working in the Office of the Attorney General to be part of a team who was setting up the Witness Protection Agency, which was actually a very unique institution. It is one of its kind in East and Central Africa. And I want to believe, Mr. Speaker, that gave me an opportunity also to interact with issues of gender-based violence and the need to protect witnesses for purposes of ensuring that there is success in the prosecution and also to strengthen the administrative justice system. Mr. Speaker, sir, in my journey of duty, I've been part of the team who was setting up the county governments. I was privileged to be the first interim county secretary for the Narok County government. I also participated in strengthening the structure and function of the county government in Bomet County. And I have also participated in issues of ensuring that girls are protected from repugnant cultural practices while serving in the county government of Bomet, while setting up the Bomet East sub-county. And those experiences, Honorable Speaker, have given me, have assisted me in building resilience and also interacting with the environments where gender-based violence is rampant and where interventions are required to strengthen the fight against gender-based violence. Mr. Speaker, sir, I think my experience in field administration has assisted me in terms of building resilience, building courage, and also building hard work and sacrifice, which are actually the pertinent ingredients for leadership in this particular field that I am nominated to serve. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Excellent. Nominee, now we'll invite members to ask you some questions, starting with the Deputy Speaker.
Okay. Ms. Langat, I would like to ask you just one question, which has been something that has been a subject of debate among the women of Kenya. And this is on the implementation of the 2/3 gender principle, which has been very elusive, despite several attempts to pass the law in the country, in the parliament, has not succeeded. And I know that your predecessor also had it on her desk. How do you think you will approach the ongoing challenges in implementing the 2/3 gender principle to make it a reality for the women of Kenya? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable member. The issue, the items on two-third gender rule are actually envisaged by our Constitution under Article 27, where the Constitution considered that for successful mainstreaming of gender in leadership, in electoral positions and appointee positions, there is need for the government to come up with legislation to facilitate and to operationalize what is provided under the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, the particular item that we are discussing on the two-third gender rule is a big challenge, and the State Department, in which I have nominated, have come up with initiatives. And as we are sitting in this room, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am aware that there are initiatives under the Gender Inequality Commissions and proposals to initiate issues on amendment of the Constitution to address the gaps which have not been addressed under the legislation. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am aware also that the issues of two-third gender rule is a big challenge, especially in leadership under the National Assembly and appointee positions, because we are lacking the legislative platform where operationalizing the two-third gender rule is supposed to be guided through. Under the county government, we are advantaged because of the provision of the County Government Act, which gives very, very strict guidelines on how to mainstream issues of two-third gender rule under the county government. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I believe the members seated in this room will be persuaded to assist the department where I'm supposed to go and serve, if approved by this committee, so that we engage in terms of coming up with relevant legislations that will assist all of us to mainstream two-third gender rule, not only in the elective positions, but also in appointee positions, like where I have been as a career public administrator. Thank you, Chair.
Just something, Honorable Chair, I was hoping that you would tell me something more radical, like that you'll advise the President to dissolve Parliament, since there is already a live advisory opinion from Justice Maraga, the former Chief Justice, on the President's desk for failure to do this. So maybe you need to crack the whip. Thank you.
Can I add something, Chair?
Are you sure you want to dissolve the people vetting you?
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, sir.
That's a joke. You don't have to respond to it.
I just want to mention something, Mr. Speaker, sir, if you will allow me. What the Honorable Member has mentioned about the dissolving the Assembly, Mr. Speaker, sir, there is already existing goodwill from the top leadership in the executive. And this is actually demonstrated by the number of women who have been nominated to participate in this current cabinet. So I think the goodwill is there. What we just need is to go deeper and engage with the honorable members in the National Assembly to give the President support in actualizing the two-third gender rule. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader, you'll pass. Coach.
Mine is on FGM and early marriage, Madam Nominee. And given the persistent nature of social cultural norms that perpetuate harmful practices, such as FGM, forced marriage, and child marriage, what specific strategies and policies do you propose to challenge and dismantle these discriminatory practices? Additionally, how do you plan to engage with community leaders and stakeholders to foster cultural change, ensure protection and empowerment of women and girls and support them in overcoming barriers to economic participation.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the member for asking that very pertinent question. The issue of FGM and early marriages, in my experience and interaction in field administration, Honorable Chair, these are issues which are emanating from the levels of poverty in our communities. Most of the communities that I've interacted with, Ms. Honorable Chair, FGM, yeah. Mr. Speaker, sir. Most of the communities where FGM and early marriages are rampant are communities where the poverty index is very high, and girls are actually considered as an investment. So, Honorable Speaker, to address the issue of FGM and early marriages, we need to address poverty in our communities by empowering men and women, and more especially the men, because for a successful girl to progress and grow to be a person to be dependent on by a society, it takes a man. I'm a daughter, Mr. Speaker, of a mechanic, and I can assure you, Mr. Speaker, without the support of a father, a male figure in a family, women cannot do much in terms of empowerment and protection of girls. The second thing, Honorable Speaker, is addressing the issue of facilitating the girls to ensure that there is access to education by ensuring that each community have a school which the girls can be able to access, and also supporting the girls by giving them the required items like sanitary towels, so that they are able to transit from puberty to higher levels in education. Honorable Speaker, also we need to strengthen the women who are actually, they are the women who are actually earning a living from being the perpetuators of FGM, by giving them alternative means of income through economic empowerment. And one area where we can help these women is to allow them and to access funds through the normal arrangements that we have right now under the Kenya Kwanza administration. We have Hustler Fund. We also have Women Women Enterprise Fund. So we can empower these communities so that they get alternative sources and forget about our girls, because the only way to protect girls are to protect the perpetrators who are using the girls for economic gains. And finally, Honorable Speaker, is to create awareness among the societies, the communities where FGM is rampant. And I'm counting on the members in this room. As I listen to the introductions, I could assign every community where girls are experiencing the FGM, so that we have concerted efforts and help these girls together through the bursaries that the members sitting in this room are administering, so that we bring down the rates of early marriages and FGM in our country. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Nominee. We'll take
Honorable Speaker,
yes.
I have a follow-up question regarding the two-third gender rule, and I want to ask the nominee, are you aware there was a report in the parliament and the multi-sectoral working groups onto that gender role, and the report is already in the parliament. Are you aware about that? Because I didn't hear you mentioning that.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am aware of the task force that was working on, I believe the Honorable Chair is talking about the NATCO report. Is that the one, Honorable Chair? Maybe that, if that is the one, I'm aware. And I thought it was an item which was still under discussion. And maybe the leader of business in the National Assembly will be able to share the same. And I believe now it is still an item still under consideration. And since the honorable member who has mentioned it is part of that team in the National Assembly, I would also persuade her and other women, other honorable women leaders in this House to also support the same, because I believe if we succeed in that proposal, it might be a game changer for the life of the girl and women in this country. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Passing, you'll pass. Kikaria.
Just for introduction, my name is Kikaria. Pass.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chairman.
Yes, Naisula.
Thank you. To the nominee, I have a very simple question. Gender is mostly misconstrued to be about women and girls, while I also think it is about boys and men. And we're seeing a lot of challenges which especially our young men and boys are going through. I want to know, if approved by this committee and the National Assembly, what measures will you put in place to ensure that our boys and young men are also taken care of? And finally, your views on femicide and rape, which has become rampant.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to appreciate the Honorable member who has just asked the question. Those are actually very pertinent issues in our society now. The issue of the boy child and the men is actually one of the emerging gender issues in our communities. As we sit together in this room this afternoon, everybody is aware, every member seated here could be knowing of a case of a boy, either in your neighborhood, either a friend, a child of a friend, or a child of a sister who has gotten involved in issues of drug and substance abuse, cases of mental health, cases of broken marriage relationships. And when you look deep into the issues, Honorable Chair, the issue of the poor child is actually in a crisis situation. Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, if you go down the streets in this town, in this city, the number of boys who form part of the street families, you realize that the number of boys in the street family is actually on the increase. When you go to the mental health centers, you find the number of boys also is very high. Cases of femicide that we all witnessed in the recent past, it is our boys who are involved. So I think, Honorable Speaker, as a government, we need to come up with deliberate efforts targeting the boy child, starting from issues of drug and substance abuse, by starting to take most of them which are affected to rehab centers, and move a step higher to give them a reorientation and even train them in areas of their interest. We can take them to TVETs, where they can train in areas of where they have technical interests. so that these boys can also be empowered and be made to be useful and to have a gainful engagement, and also to encourage them to start families. Because right now, Honorable Speaker, the empowered girl that we have in our homes today, they have no husbands. Because the boys who are supposed to marry them, they are in drugs, they are involved in femicide because maybe they were disappointed by one woman.
Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
I just want to caution on statements, especially where you're talking about, they need to be married and all these statements. Be very careful on the words you use. Some of young people do not necessarily want to marry at all. Number two, there's a statement that you've used, and someone has sent me a furious message saying that she needs to be careful because you said without support of a father figure, women can do little to succeed. She's saying she is a daughter of a single mother.
Actually, since it was my question, Chairman,
yes.
I under your guidance, what you have been saying is that we are not looking for lamentation. I asked for measures and
yes.
what we are going to do in case you are approved.
Yes, Robert?
Yeah, I also want to caution because she just said that on the matters of femicide, it's our boys that are involved. And without evidence, you can't really accuse anyone.
That is also true, Nominee. Nominee, you are before this committee to demonstrate that if you find favor and His Excellency appoints you, what is your vision? The questions you are being asked is not about general knowledge. It's about if you become the cabinet secretary in this docket, what are you going to do about the plight of the boy child? What are you going to do about femicide? What are you going to do about all the things you have been asked, FGM and so on? So people, members of the public and this team are looking to you to demonstrate your vision for the country and what you can do to improve the space to which the president has nominated you to be. So avoid generalities and histrionics.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and sorry for the deviation. I want to just add something, Honorable Speaker, that most of the areas that honorable members has asked, they are areas also of research, which I might not have information, I might not have the data, but I could be having general knowledge. And since, Honorable Chair, I'm not an expert, I withdraw my sentiments, and I beg the honorable members to give me an opportunity to continue with the presentation.
We'll go to Owen.
Just a quick one, Honorable, so I can also give guidance. I think, we would like to see what are the policies, what are the policy gaps in the gender sector? What are the legislative gaps in the gender sector? And the other areas that you've been nominated to. You're not just in gender, you're also in culture and something else. Culture, arts, and heritage. Yes. The heritage part is quite important for this nation, but I haven't heard you actually say anything about heritage and what are the issues that we need. Probably I need to ask you, what are the issues in heritage? How are we going? Gede Ruins has been given a title now as one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. How is that important to this country? And there are many areas where we have these UNESCO Heritage Sites, but the people there are very poor. They have not had any impact on this world classification in terms of heritage. What is it that you're going to do in culture, in terms of performance arts, in terms of young people, content creation, and all that. If you give us that, we'll be able to see, yeah, you really can help this country in the cabinet. Thank you.
Good. George, no? Mary? You'll pass? I pass. You'll pass. Robert?
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. As a nation, we have toyed with the idea of a national dress for a very, very long time. But we are still stuck in formal wear that is foreign, even during our national events or social engagements. In fact, you can see that when we are doing all this work, we've all been in suits and ties. And even our parliament, we have to be in suits and ties. What do you have to say about that on issues of dress, the Kenyan dress?
Chair, with the gender ministry, that I cannot pass, I have to say something. And my question, one will be on the gender-based violence. And I'm looking on how are you going to do some intervention, because the cases are rising each and every day, especially in the rural setup. And one of the reasons is because there's still some tradition. When these cases happen, the family feels that if we go report, we're exposing our daughters, and become a challenge to that daughter to receive some justice. On the same breath, we have seen what is happening in our police stations. When these cases are reported, the evidence on some cases have been confiscated, and maybe sometimes the evidence are not there, are not even taken to the courts, and it becomes a very big challenge for these daughters of ours to get some justice. I want just to get from our nominee, what kind of intervention, or rather mitigation, are you really going to do? Because we have good laws, sexual offense bill, we have the victim protection bill, and so many others. But still, each and every day, we are seeing these cases. And it's shocking that you can even see a father raping a daughter, a brother raping a sister. It is really very, very sad, Honorable Chairman. My second question, it is about the issue of our culture and heritage. And I see we have a challenge, especially in preserving and promoting our cultural heritage. Knowing that as a country in Kenya, we are rich in cultural heritage. I'm looking on how are we protecting our right. For instance, the patent right on our kiondo, for instance, from the Kamba land. That kiondo from the Kamba land, that Ushanga from the Ma community, and those regalia from the Pokot and the Turkana. These are all culture. This country is high time that we need to know, how are we showcasing our culture? Do we have a cultural day? Maybe so that all our communities can just come together. We have like a celebration and we showcase where we came from as Africans, as Kenyans, and where we are. Because this is one way even to promote tourism. Because I mean, people will just come on that cultural day and just come to see what Kenya has. So I want to say that we need to tap those available opportunities in terms of culture, art, and national heritage. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, I had not prepared to ask, but Speaker, no, just a moment. I wish you listen to me, Speaker. I said I not have a question, but I just had an opportunity to peruse a CV and I noticed something very unprecedented with the civil, the officer in public office. The nominee, you've not gotten...
On which page?
From page 13, basically on her experience and the position she has held, all the way to 21, actually all the way to 23. Not arranged in chronological manner, but from 23, she has served in so many positions across so many ministries, county governments, parastatals. There is no any promotion in one single ministry. So it begs the question, why are you not promoting from where you are. You are always going to another organization, another office, another either county government. Sometimes you are exchanging. Yeah, so I just wanted to know why.
No, I think you're reading it wrong. Yes, because if you look at it from page 20, if you start with page 23, which is the farther as far back, she was a personnel officer. Then she rose to a district officer 3. Then she rose to assistant secretary. Then she rose to assistant secretary again in the finance division. Yes. And then
I think Caleb never worked in the public service, so he doesn't understand it.
No. I think you didn't get my question. At least if you work in the Ministry of Interior, for example, you will rise up. If it's Division 1, you go to Division 2. My question is that all these organizations, there's no any single workplace you've risen up. You're always going to the next.
If assistant secretary 1, and then at the Ministry of Defense, she was a senior assistant secretary and personal assistant to the permanent secretary. That's a rise.
You could
and
let
under secretary is a rise. No, I think you're being disparaging of women.
Then let the nominee respond. It's just a simple question.
Chairman, point of order. Chairman, just to add on what Caleb has just said, I've also observed that she has been working on a very short period of time. Short period. If you just look, maybe we need to understand why, for instance, Minister of Labor, 2005 to June 2008, and there's one which was very short.
Be fair to the nominee, in public service order.
Yeah, we just need to understand maybe that trend. We just need to understand.
In public service, Honorable Mishi,
we need to understand.
I'm not defending the nominee, she will answer. But in public service, no servant chooses where to work. You can be rotated around anywhere. I was a magistrate for only 8 months, and I worked in 5 stations. I don't know what you would say about that. Nominee, you've had the questions, including Caleb Amis's question, that you seem to have been marking time in your positions of appointment, and you suffered regular transfers and change of places of work.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to start from the last question so that I clear the air. Honorable Speaker, maybe also to shed some light on the operation of a public service, where I've served for 29 years, Honorable Speaker. In the public service, there is what we call rotation of staff. And in the career, as a career administrator, you can only work in one station for not more than 3 years. I believe that one is clear, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, go on.
And that is a career that you don't just move from one level to another. There are requirements to move from one job grade to another, especially in administration. There are required training, capacity building for you to be allowed to move from one grade to another. So, Honorable Speaker, I started working as an assistant secretary, which is equivalent to DO3 in field administration. I rose to the level of assistant secretary 2. I moved again to 1. I moved again to senior assistant secretary. I moved again to under secretary. I moved again, if you can follow my CV, to senior deputy secretary, where I served for a very long time. And the equivalent position in the field is Deputy County Commissioner 2. So,
which in the old system would be a DC?
DC, which is senior DC. So, Honorable Speaker, the working of our public service is complex, and I appreciate the questions from the members. And like in the first phase that you can see in my CV, I've worked in 3 different state departments.
Move to another question.
Yes. So I believe I've...
Address the question by
Yes.
Owen, then the question by Mishi, and the question by Robert.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to answer the questions from the question of the UNESCO historical sites, which was asked by one of the honorable members. And I want to report that the Republic of Kenya was privileged to be part of the countries whose one site was approved by the UNESCO in the 2024. That is the Kedi ruins as historical sites under preservation and maintenance by the UNESCO, under the UNESCO protocol. So I wanted to just add also on issues of performing artists. Performing artists in the Republic of Kenya are actually assisted through the Kenya Cultural Center, where we have the National Theatre with a comprehensive setup of other facilities which are assisting our performing artists to be able to exploit their talents and develop them and be able to have a gainful, they are able to participate in the economic field where they are able to exhibit, they are able to perform locally and internationally. Our Constitution, Honorable Speaker, recognizes culture as a foundation of our nation and also as an area where it needs to be preserved and promoted by the nation. And our Constitution recognizes and promotes and recommends that the state should promote issues of cultural heritage, covering issues of our literature, our performing artists, our music, communication, and indigenous, traditional indigenous technologies. It also recognizes that our country is rich in science and indigenous knowledge that needs to be preserved in terms of food preservation, medicine that our communities are able to use, and they are able to earn a living from those cultural practices. Honorable Speaker, there was a question also on the national dress. I want to report that the issue of the national dress is a very key item in building Kenya and promoting our local industries and also promoting our culture. The issue of national dress, Honorable Speaker, is one of the items that were presented in the meeting under the State Department during an Naivasha meeting, which was held last year. And there was a report, and there is a task force that has been constituted to be able to come up with a national dress through a consultative process where we can be able to have a national dress that can be acceptable by all the communities of this republic. And because the challenge that we have had in this past, Mr. Honorable Speaker, is having a national dress in a very diverse community, with very diverse communities like the ones we have in our republic, is a big challenge. So unless we have concerted efforts, it will not be possible to have a national dress that belongs to one community. I think that is what I submit for that particular question, Honorable Speaker.
Go to Honorable Mishi. Mishi, was it on gender-based violence?
Yes. Yes, on gender-based violence.
Yes, go
Honorable
ahead.
Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On gender-based violence and the interventions that I would be able to bring on board if approved by this committee. Honorable Speaker, gender-based violence in our republic is still a very big challenge. And currently we are doing around 36 and 47% cases are reported in our republic arising from issues of gender-based violence. Honorable Speaker, to be able to stabilize and create an environment, an equitable environment free from discrimination and violence, it is our priority, Honorable Speaker, to empower the communities by creating awareness in our villages to all men and women through our village elders, through the Council of Elders, by shaping the perceptions. Because most of the areas that we are having issues of gender-based violence are areas where we have issues like female genital mutilation, early marriages, dropouts of school.
Chair, maybe on a point of order, maybe the nominee did not really get what the Mishi was asking. There are so many cases even of femicide. You must have seen the case in Kware here in Embakasi, where the target were basically young women and largely younger women. You've seen the one in Ruiru, you saw the one in Roysambu, the cases in around the Airbnb space where young girls are being enticed to come into apartments and they end up getting hurt, some getting killed. Would want to hear what are your thoughts on what, as a minister in charge of gender and also culture, what you would do to inculcate values in our young children and our young girls and young women on how they need to carry themselves in society. How do you avoid such things? That's what we would want to hear, your vision of how you would want to carry out that kind of work to make sure that nobody is taking advantage of young women in this country to go and harm or kill them.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to appreciate the member for making interventions. And I want to say this, Honorable Chair. The recent cases of femicides is an area that really needs research and documentation because it is happening at different areas and it is perpetuated by different persons. So issues of mental health is one area that research needs to be done. Issues of empowerment, issues of counseling of young people, and issues of family challenges that could be witnessed by, that could be happening or being experienced by members of our community. So, Honorable Chair, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to, given an opportunity, I would wish to strengthen the investigative arm of the police, where we are having gender desk cases being reported, so that cases of femicide or cases of gender-based violence can be dealt with, and also strengthen the the role of the Witness Protection Agency, because this is a very gray area where we could even be having people who know what could have happened. But since there is no strong protection system for witnesses, it can also be a challenge to get investigation and get to the root of the matter in cases of femicide.
You should also respond to the question from Robert Mbui was on the arts and the creative space, and his question was very simple. If you get favor and you become the cabinet secretary, what will you do to support, promote, and protect our artists? Isn't that your question, Robert? Or who asked that? Oh, that was Owen Bayer. You haven't answered that, to the best of my understanding. There is also a question from Mishimboga about patenting our heritage products like Ushanga, like Kiondo, and so on. If you find favor again, what will you do to protect our local innovations that reflect our culture? Mishi, that was your question as well?
Yes, that was my question.
Yes.
And maybe, Speaker, you will give me time. Just maybe
Let her answer those first.
It is on the same perspective, the one which I asked about when the cases have been taken to the police, because that is the first station. You report the cases of GBV.
She said she will strengthen police investigations.
No, I just want to say something very crucial.
Yes.
Which has just happened recently. I cannot see properly, but just recently our CG Kome had opened two courts at Siaya and Kisumu, and specifically for gender-based violence. And he also instructed that we need to have specialized police officers who are going to be fast-tracking some cases of GBV. So I just wanted to put that information.
Actually, there is already a police policy that if a young girl who has been brutalized goes to the police station, her report and statement is recorded by a female police officer and not a male police officer. But
gender desks.
Go on and answer those questions. I'm not the nominee.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you for repeating the question again. And in every police station, under the gender mainstreaming program, we have gender desks where all cases of gender-based violence are reported. And they are picked up from there by the prosecutors. And if there are any witnesses that needs to be protected for purposes of successful prosecution of cases, they are referred to the Witness Protection Agency for protection to ensure that there is successful prosecution of the perpetrators of the crime. So the biggest challenge that we have had in the past is most of the gender desks are manned by women. So when we have cases of men, it becomes a challenge. So if I succeed to become the cabinet secretary for the same department, I will endeavor to ensure that the gender is mainstream in this desk so that we don't have only women. We also have men.
Have no issues. There are enough male police in police stations to deal with the cases. So those ones are not a big problem, nominee. You can go to the next on support, promotion, and protection of artists.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On protection of the performing artist, we have the Kenya Copyright Board, whose role is to protect and facilitate issues of the copyright and protecting our artists from pirates, and also to ensure that they get what they are entitled through payment of royalties. On issues of promotion, Honorable Speaker, under the Kenya Cultural Center, we have an arrangement where all performing artists are facilitated through mentorship programs, through provision of the required equipments under the National Theatre, where they can be able to practice, and also they can be exposed to markets locally and internationally. There was also another question on issues of communities where we have performing artists and the need to commercialize their activities, if I got it right. So, Honorable Speaker, this is an item that really need additional strengthening so that in every county we have a cultural center where all the communities can be able to bring up their artifacts and can be able to share and can be able to exhibit to visitors, whether they are local visitors or visitors who are coming from foreign countries, and they can be able to earn a living and also preserve the artifacts and also preserve the cultural and historical sites. Thank you, Mr.
A matter
Speaker.
of interest, Nominee, how many, apart from Gedi ruins, how many other World Heritage sites do we have in Kenya?
Currently, we have eight sites. The eighth one was just registered this year. That is, the Gedi ruins was the additional we had from the 7 that we had in the past.
Which are those?
We have the Fort Jesus, we have the Kaya Forest, we have the lakes in the 4 lakes in the Great Rift Valley. We also have a site in Kisumu called at Ohinga. Touch Ohinga site.
Okay, thank you. Members? Razo?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll just ask one quick question. Madam Soy, my question is on museums. You know, museums is about our history, our culture, our heritage. But over the years, there have been very little investment or movement towards preserving the museums. If you are favored with this appointment, what are you going to do about the museums? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Can you respond?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. About the museums and the monuments, this is the main focus of the Kenya Kwanza administration, and it is actually scheduled that all the artifacts that were taken away from this country are going to be brought back to the National Museum. And plans are already underway to strengthen the role of the museums in championing the repatriation of our stolen artifacts. And Honorable Speaker, the museum and the Kenya National Museum is a priority agency under the State Department in terms of even the provision of a budgetary provision so that it is able to run its activities. So it is in the interest of the nation that the Kenya Museum has been reformed so that we continue attracting tourists who are visiting the country to be able to enjoy the preserved national heritage and artifacts that we have in our National Museum, including the documentation of our history as a country. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Owen?
Big one. Sorry, I know I'm taking away time, but I want to say this if you allow me. If you go to Vatican today, there are hordes of people. You don't even find space. They just come to see one or two artifacts, you know. You go to a lot of these countries out there, it is what drives tourism, you know. But in this country, the National Museum here, I don't know whether you've checked the numbers. The cradle of mankind is here in Kenya. The Gede ruins is actually abandoned. It's almost dead, you know, though it has gotten UNESCO. Lamu is rich in heritage. It's actually it's a UNESCO thing. The Kaya forests, they're almost becoming extinct. We would like to hear your vision, apart from just telling us what they are. What is your vision in tying tourism, numbers, revenue generation, and museums in this country should not continue to get money from exchequer. They should generate resources. But they are not doing that. The Jumba ruins in Mtwapa is one of those big things that people used to come to. But now all the land is gone, it is grabbed. It's only the skeleton that is remaining there. Old Town in Mombasa would be the place. Fort Jesus would be the place that would drive the tourism in Mombasa. And the revenues that would be coming in would be big. But we haven't, Vasco da Gama and Malindi, we haven't had your vision. We would like to hear, what is your vision to drive the national heritage, the culture, in bringing in income? Because that's what Kenya Kwanza is about, generating income through the heritage that we have. We haven't seen that. Ms. Soy, kindly let us know what you think. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the member for really bringing out what needs to be done in the Department of Culture and National Heritage. Honorable Speaker, Vatican has been mentioned, and issues of perception and marketing is a very big issue in our country in terms of selling our country. Branding the country is a very big issue, and I would want to say, Honorable Speaker, I think we need to do more. I want to share this very exciting news that this country has received an opportunity, an international opportunity for our president to profile the country in terms of our culture and our national heritage in a national annual event in Germany. And this is an opportunity to brand ourselves. This is an opportunity to sell our country, to expose what we have in terms of our rich heritage, our food, our language, and our artifacts, and everything that relates to our culture. Honorable Chair, I believe this will be a launching pad for this administration so that we can have a replica of the same with other countries, so that we can market our country and market our people and the rich heritage that we have as a country. So, Honorable Speaker, I just want to mention something also about the communities. Before we go outside to market ourselves, we also need to sensitize our communities so that every community can have a cultural center. They can bring their artifacts and all issues related to their heritage, the rich language, and also can be documented, so that in the future, when our parents and our great-grandparents are not there to explain the rich heritage and the culture that we had, it can be accessed in a digital platform. Honorable Speaker, when you visit other countries, you find areas of cultural sites have been developed in a way that the sites are preserved and we reduce unregulated visits so that the environment where our sites are can be preserved for future and also so that we can continuously commercialize our heritage for ourselves and for posterity, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Nominee. I think, members, I want to bring this to an end. I'll just ask you one last question on behalf of this committee. If you find favor, and I already asked you this, we have had ministries in charge of this docket since independence. If you find favor and you become the minister in this docket for our gender, arts, culture, heritage, what is it that you bring on board that is different from what others have been doing to grow and enrich the space that you are going to occupy for the benefit of the people of Kenya?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
In 2 minutes.
As I come to this space, Honorable Chair, I carry with me a wealth of experience in issues of gender, in issues of cross-cultural exposure, and appreciating the national diversity of our country. Honorable Chair, if allowed to be in this space, I will do my best to ensure that there is transparency and accountability in the management of the Kenya Copyright Board, which is the lifeline for our performing artists. I will do my best, Honorable Chair, as I come with the principles as I come with the values and principles that guides a career civil servant. I will ensure that there is fair competition and in the appointment and promotion of staff working in these environments.
Thank you, Nominee. I'll ask you 3 last mundane questions. Have you ever been adversely mentioned in any integrity-related report or investigations?
No, Honorable Speaker.
Do you hold any leadership position in any political party?
No, Honorable Speaker.
What is your net worth?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My net worth is about 70 million Kenya shillings, ranging from assets, homes, pieces of land, a few cows, and some orchard, avocado orchard, and a few shares and securities. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Lastly, on page 3 of your documents, you say you went to the Nairobi University. I want to remind you that I'm an alumni of the University of Nairobi, and I hope that's where you went.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I actually went to the University
of
Nairobi.
Yes, we have no Nairobi University in this country.
It is just the university.
The University of Nairobi. Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Stella. We have had a good interactive engagement. We'll ask the Sergeant. We have looked at your documents and what we have in our possession, they correspond. And there were only 4 memoranda sent on you, and you responded to all of them. So we now release you to go back to your other duties and have a good evening.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes.
And I look forward to successful vetting. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
And escort the distinguished lady out of the chamber. Honorable members, order. Shuria, take your seat. Owen, take your seat. My temporary whip, take your seat. Honorable members, thank you very much to all of you for the tremendous industry, commitment, and tenacity you have demonstrated in the last 4 days.
And the staff also.
Idi Amin was once asked why he blows his trumpet, and he told the journalists, who else do you expect to blow it? It's mine. So you can blow your trumpet. As your chairman, I want to congratulate you that we have had 4 grueling days free of any incident, free of any ugly and unhelpful exchanges, interviewing the nominees with respect, decorum,